from the capital city of Charleston, West Virginia, this is Inside West Virginia Politics with Mark Curtis. Inside West Virginia Politics is brought to you by AARP West Virginia, your ally for real possibilities in the Mountain State.
Welcome to Inside West Virginia Politics. I'm Mark Curtis. This week, lawmakers return to the Capitol for interim committee meetings and a special session. But with the regular session now less than 2 months away, we'll be talking to lawmakers today about what they are looking forward to getting done in 2020. Now, one of the bills that has already been promised is a fix to the rising cost of insulin. Adrienne Robbins has more.
I'm really no different than other kids in the state, except I have diabetes. It's really
Braxton is 12 years old, plays sports, is part of clubs, and tries to be a good role model to his two little brothers. But having diabetes isn't easy, especially when it comes to footing the bill.
We pay a little bit less than $1,000 a month.
It's the skyrocketing price of that drug that has West Virginians heading to Canada. A caravan is planned for December 8th for a one-day trip from Morgantown to purchase insulin.
He needs it. He has to have it. It's a life-saving drug. We've got to have it, period. I would go wherever I needed to be able to afford it, Canada or Mexico.
The group may be going to Canada for insulin, but they're hoping for a fix right here in West Virginia.
I'm really excited for what they might do. Even if it's a little bit of help, we can have all the help we can get.
Delegate Barbara Fleshauer and Delegate Cody Thompson will be on the bus to Canada in December. But in January, a group of delegates has vowed to make changes in the Mountain State.
We would like to pass legislation that would lower the price of insulin in one way or another, either by limiting the co-pays to say $25 or $50, or by allowing importation of insulin.
Legislation has been attempted before, but that's not stopping these families from continuing the fight.
I just ask, please, just lower this cost of insulin so I actually have a future.
One of the main supporters of a fix to this issue has been Delegate Barbara Evans-Fleischauer of Monongalia County. My co-host Adrienne Robbins had a one-on-one interview with her this week.
A lot of what you've been doing during this off session is with health care. And that's become a nationwide issue, but it's particularly an issue here in West Virginia and the affordability of a lot of these medications like insulin. Tell me about your upcoming trip to Canada and what you hope to accomplish.
Well, we're going to be going to Canada on December 8th. We are taking up people who will be able to buy much, much cheaper insulin there. And we would like to pass legislation that would lower the price of insulin in one way or another, either by limiting the co-pays to say $25 or $50, or by allowing importation of insulin, which might be a longer thing, or maybe a mandatory that our insurance providers must cover things like test strips, which we've found out are or pumps are very, very expensive, but they make people's lives, well, they're essential. You have to know what your blood sugar is, and the test strips are not covered under prescription benefits. Maybe we should say they should be.
And obviously, again, this is a nationwide issue. A lot of people are dealing with the skyrocketing cost of insulin, but this is an issue particularly important for West Virginia, and you've learned a lot of that on your research. Can you tell me about why it affects the Mountain State so much?
Well, there are two types of diabetes. There's type 1 and type 2, and they do say that type 1 is increasing. The price of insulin is most important for people that are type 1 because they can't manufacture insulin at all. And we have many more people. The reason we're number one in the whole country is because more people are getting type 2. And that has to do with depression, with our lifestyle, with the way we eat, with all the fast foods that the advertising that has convinced us that we must have McDonald's, and we must have hush puppies. Well, there's a price to that, and we need to be more sophisticated about how we eat and how we exercise. We need to look into lifestyle, but for those who are type 1, there's nothing they can do. They have to have insulin. They have to be very careful about their diet and about exercise, but they have to have insulin, and if it's, $400, $500, $600 a month with insurance, that is just not fair.
Thank you, Adrienne. We'll have more from lawmakers coming up, plus another candidate for governor this week on Inside West Virginia Politics.
Now back to Inside West Virginia Politics with Mark Curtis.
And welcome back to Inside West Virginia Politics. The 2020 campaign season is really heating up, even though it's still only 2019. I want to introduce one of the Democrats running for governor of West Virginia, Jody Murphy. Great to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me, Mark.
We believe there's 4 of you, maybe more. I mean, more people will jump into this, but Ben Salango, Senator Ron Stallings are in already, and you're in, and Stephen Smith, who's pretty well known as a children's health advocate around the state. You're probably the least known of the 4.
Okay.
But in your area, you're probably pretty well known. You're up there in Wood County, right?
Wood County, Fayette County native, but Wood County resident, yes.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your background, first of all. Who's Jody Murphy?
Well, I worked in newspapers for 16 years in Beckley and Parkersburg, covered sports, covered city government. Then I went into the Economic Development Authority in Pleasants County and the Chamber of Commerce executive in Pleasants County. So I worked a lot in Pleasants County in the Mid-Ohio Valley. A lot of economic background, a lot of economic development background.
Okay, college degree?
Concord College, UCLA, the University of Concord, located in Athens.
And you have family?
Yes, my wife is a family nurse practitioner in Vienna, West Virginia, and I've got 3 boys.
Okay, how old are the boys?
I'll tell you they're 17, 13, and 14. My wife will come along and tell you I got them wrong and I was off by you, but I can ballpark it.
We had the same problem when my kids were that age too. I have only 2, so it's only 2 to keep track of. Talk about some of the issues. You talk about your background, and you and I have discussed this before, running the Economic Development Authority and the Chamber of Commerce. How does that help qualify you to be governor?
Well, I think I can diversify the economy and recruit and retain residency, and I think those are the big issues. We have a lot of problems in the state, but I think we address a lot of them by getting more taxpayers and not more taxes. You know, we continue to lose residents. If we have to have like 20,000 residents, but before next year we lose another congressional representative. You know, we're hemorrhaging residents. I want to keep those residents that we have, and I want to grow residency, and I want to diversify our economy.
How do you do that? Give us a couple ideas.
Well, one idea is I want to give land away. I want to give away land for economic development. I think, one, that'll diversify our economy. You know, John Deskins, the noted WVU economist, he travels all over the state and he says we need to diversify the economy. And everybody says we need to diversify the economy, but nobody knows how to do that. So let's try and give some land away. I want to reverse engineer the Amazon headquarters proposal. You know, Amazon put out an RFP for a second headquarters, and they had almost every major metro area in the country responded. They stepped up and said, we want Amazon, we'll take this, and they put a proposal. Well, what if we reverse engineered that? And we said, we've got 100 acres in Boone County in the Rock Creek development that we'd like to give away. What have you got for us? And see what kind of proposals we get for companies that will put in manufacturing, that can bring jobs or locate jobs. And we advertise those. Now say we only get, let's say we get 100 proposals, and they may or may not fit, but that's 100 leads that we didn't have that are looking to recruit and are looking to relocate and are now looking at West Virginia.
It sounds a lot like the state of New York was advertising for a long time on national television, local television. Move your business to the state of New York, we'll give you 10 years property tax forbearance. And that brought a lot of companies to New York State. Now, I always thought, well, why don't other states try the same thing or something similar like a land giveaway?
You and I are thinking the same thing. Why aren't we trying different things? You know, I like Governor Justice, and I know he's trying. And the guy before him and the guy before him, we're still 46, 47, 48, and 49 in every major category that you can think of. The only thing we're good at is being old and fat. I mean, that's it. So we need to try things differently. And if it means giving some land away to see if we can diversify our economy and grow our economy, let's give it a try.
I recently drove from Parkersburg to Clarksburg along Route 50.
Yes.
And all I could think about the whole way, because there's not a lot in between those two cities, was, boy, you got a 6-lane highway here. You could really bring in a lot of businesses, and of course it's going to connect with Quarter H when it's all said and done in one way, shape, or form. It just seems like it's an underutilized location, and you could bring business in there.
Briefly, it has been vastly utilized with the growth of oil and gas in Taro, a lot of oil and gas trucks, pipeline trucks. But again, that's drying up. Once those pipelines turn on, a lot of that work goes away. But you're absolutely right. There's a lot of land there that could be available and could be used for things.
30 seconds. How do we get more tech business in this state? That's the tech corridor up that way.
Again, I think we have to think outside the box. We have to think what I call off the table. We've got to do different things. We have to do things differently. Zig where everybody else is zagging. Like I said, I want to try and give land away to attract that. You know, advertise, commercial, pay people to come and live here, pay people to come and put businesses in here, create entrepreneurship zones.
Real briefly, you have a website. I mean, we can only discuss so many issues in 5 minutes. Where can folks find out more information about Jody Murphy and your campaign and where you stand on a whole host of issues?
You can find me at Murphy4WV.com. I also have a Facebook page, MurphyForWestVirginia.com. I'm on social media, Twitter, and of course, I've got business cards, and you can call me, 304-991-2350. I'll come to anywhere to talk to anyone, anytime, about anything.
Yeah, I saw you down in Fayette County at the Democratic Party. You sang country roads to the crowd.
Oh, I won't sing, I promise.
That's a campaign promise. He's not going to sing anymore.
Exactly right.
All right, Jody Murphy, want to thank you. Best of luck to you. Democratic candidate for governor of West Virginia. The primary is May 12th. You'll be hearing a lot more about Jody in the months ahead. Thanks
Mark,
for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. We'll have more of Inside West Virginia Politics after this break.
Now back to Inside West Virginia Politics with Mark Curtis.
And welcome back to Inside West Virginia Politics. We've invited some of our delegates and senators to join us today, and I want to introduce Delegate Caleb Hanna of Nicholas, Upshur, Webster, Randolph County. That's the fourth one.
Yes.
Where's home?
Home to me is Nicholas County.
Okay. And you're in your first term in the legislature.
Yes, sir.
Well, Delegate Hanna, we just wrapped up interim committee meetings. What stood out to you, and especially with the special session going through as well?
Well, I mean, we had the 3 bills in special session, and unfortunately we couldn't get the tourism bill through, so we're going to have to come back in December and do that. But what stuck out to me most over interims is I serve on education, and we heard a lot from HEPC and the strides that the West Virginia investment grants that we passed during last session are making for students here in West Virginia. I think that was a great thing to hear.
And you're heading out to California with a couple other delegates for an education conference. What's the purpose of that? What do you guys hope to learn?
Definitely. We just want to hear from some different leaders around the country that work in education to see what some other states are doing and what we can implement here in West Virginia. We're going to hear from, the inventor of Khan Academy and a few other prestigious education programs to see what we can better implement through our K-12 education. So.
Obviously, education was kind of the main spotlight last legislative session. Now we're moving towards your second and the next legislative session. What do you all want to accomplish?
Definitely. I think education, we hit the bulk of it last time, so we're going to try to stay away from that issue, I think, a little bit this year. But some things I'm looking forward to, actually, is more community and technical training within middle school. A lot of times, our middle school students don't realize the options that they have going forward when it comes to our vocational schools. So I think if we could maybe implement a pilot program for some schools to see if we could introduce them to something in that trade earlier.
I want to point out to everyone, you are the youngest member of our legislature. You just turned 20 years old. You are a college student yourself. You go to West Virginia State. Some of your classes you take in person. Some of your classes you take online. What are you learning as a student that kind of informs the path you want to take as a legislator in terms of developing education policy? Yeah,
it's definitely an interesting perspective that I think I can bring to the table as being a current higher education student. And sometimes, I'll be honest, it's a little hard to find the line between student and legislator whenever I'm voting. But, I have an experience that a lot of other people in the legislature don't have. I think Higginbotham and a few others, Ben Queen, kind of share a similar experience as me, just graduating from college themselves. I think this year we're looking at a higher education funding formula, maybe something similar to what we do with our K through 12 education. That's something that's still in the works, but I think we can bring an interesting perspective as Gen Z and as millennials within the House.
And again, you are obviously one of the younger ones at the Capitol over there, and you said that you bring a new perspective. Do you think that your party listens to you, and do you feel like you have a voice out there when you do go?
Oh, without a doubt. I'll admit when I was first elected, I thought that was something I would have a problem with, is getting people to understand my age and take me seriously. But I will say that, the majority party in the House has been extremely open and receptive of my ideas.
You walked into this with quite a splash earlier this year. You proposed sending $10 million to President Trump from the state coffers to help with the border wall. You made national news. Obviously, it never got passed in the legislature, but there was an interesting way to start your legislative career. In fact, you were on national media before you were on local with that story.
Yeah, it was never passed, but mainly because that's because it was never introduced. It was a bill that we had created, and I'll be honest, it was more of a symbolic move than it was, an actual intent to send $10 million to the border wall. And you know, we have to remember we were in the middle of one of the largest government shutdowns in the United States history. And I mean, we had hundreds of calls at the Capitol saying we have to get our federal workers back to work. So the 3 Upshur County delegates got together and, you know, decided we wanted to make a statement. We didn't believe a resolution would be able to make that statement. And, you know, it actually ended up working. I think it was Minnesota. A senator from Minnesota pledged $8 million just 3 or 2 days after we had announced our plan.
Certainly quite the first year.
Yeah, I'll say. Listen, we're going to have you back in the spring when the legislature is back in session full-time. We look forward to talking to you and continue our discussion. Delegate Caleb Hanna, Republican of Webster, Nicholas, Upshur, and I always forget one, Randolph counties. He's a busy guy. Collinston as well. More of Inside West Virginia Politics after this break. Stay with us.
Now back to Inside West Virginia Politics with Mark Curtis.
Welcome back to Inside West Virginia Politics. We're continuing our discussion with lawmakers from all across West Virginia. Joining us now, Senator Stephen Baldwin from Greenbrier County. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Sure, thank you all for the opportunity.
And we identify him as a Democrat because he is. He's a busy guy. He's had a lot of committees. One of the things I want to touch on that you've been very involved with, and I think are you the minority chair or co-chair of the Joint Committee on Flooding, because we're still dealing with the 2016 floods that devastated the Elk River area here in Kanawha County, and then you down in Greenbrier County and Raynell and other places. Just give us a snapshot. Where are we at with the flood relief and trying to get people 3+ years later the help they deserve?
We're not where we need to be yet. You know, this is the top thing I deal with every day. I get more phone calls, emails, social media messages about flood relief than I do anything else, including roads. And I think part of that is just a result of my district. You know, I represent an area that was heavily impacted by this. What I'm concerned about moving forward is flood prevention, so that we don't end up in this situation again. You know, we've spent the past 3.5 years looking at the sins of the past, which it's important to do some of that work so that we're prepared for the future. But what I'm really concerned about is the next time this happens. Because it's not, to me, a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Well,
it's West Virginia, mountainous country with heavy rainfall. We're going to have flooding again. We know it. But set your watch to it.
Yeah, my grandmother, you know, she's lived through a 100-year flood, a 500-year flood, and a 1,000-year flood. And it's just going to continue to happen, so we've got to get ahead of the game. And that's what state law charges us to do. We are charged with flood prevention. And unfortunately, in 3.5 years, we have not done any flood prevention activities. We've got to get that ball rolling.
As a committee, you guys do meet pretty often. Are you happy with the progress you guys are making since creating that committee?
Well, you know, I had a motion that we should meet every month not too long ago. Unfortunately, that was shot down. It was voted down. We have begun meeting more regularly since then, though, so I appreciate that very much. There's just so much work to do. I think the more often we can get together, have everybody seated around one table, working toward a common vision and a common goal, the better.
You've also been very passionate on the opioid epidemic and had some solutions, things you proposed that didn't go through. I assume you're going to reintroduce those again in the upcoming session. We should point out that you were in the House of Delegates for a time, and then you were moved and appointed to, and now you won re-election to the state Senate. But what do you want to do with opioids when we get back and the session starts in January?
Same line of attack as flooding, prevention. You know, stopping the problem before it starts. I think for far too long in West Virginia politics, we've just sort of been reactionary to the latest, greatest dramatic event instead of being able to plan ahead. So, you know, our caucus, West Virginia Senate Democrats, are focused on the future and planning ahead so that we're not just being reactive to whatever the latest, greatest drama is, but we actually have a plan for our common life moving forward. So particularly on opioids, you know, this is one small example. There's a hospital in Greenbrier County that had 20% of their children that were born dependent upon substances. 1 out of every 5 kids.
Wow. They've
cut that to 5% with a simple program. It's called Drug-Free Mother-Baby Program. It involves a social worker and drug testing. It costs $60,000 a year. They've cut it back to 5%, which saves millions in the long run, including having young people who are actually viable members of society again. So my proposal is we take that statewide as a larger pilot program.
Well, you talk about looking ahead. Obviously, the session is quickly approaching. Last session, I feel like the teachers kind of took the air out of the room, as a lot of people have said.
2 years in a row.
They kind of got all of the attention with education. What do you want to see as kind of the top headline coming up this legislative session? Or I guess, what do you hope that it is?
I think that we ought to have the top headline be we need a plan for the future. You know, as I mentioned before, we always seem to be concerned about, well, what's the next election and what's the latest thing that I have to respond to that's in the news, instead of having a plan for the future moving forward. And we have a plan that we're going to be unveiling as Senate Democrats leading up to the session, about roads and bridges, infrastructure, opioids, and so forth. And so I hope we focus on the future.
And you don't have to worry about re-election this year because you're in the middle of your 4-year Senate term, so you can sit this one out. We want to thank State Senator Stephen Baldwin of Greenbrier County for joining us this week on Inside West Virginia Politics. Great to see you. He's a Presbyterian minister, too, in his spare time. A good man. All right, Steve, thanks. And thank you for watching Inside West Virginia Politics. Remember to download us from your favorite podcast location. See you back here next week.